Let's just get right into it, shall we? Welcome to our explainer on the absolutely dominant evolution of the Spanish national team as they head into the 2026 World Cup final. We're looking at a squad here that has completely redefined its identity. You know, they've somehow merged the ghosts of their golden past with this terrifyingly efficient modern approach. It's a fascinating journey. And by breaking down the tactics, the data, and the real stories behind this run, we're going to see exactly how La Roja constructed the absolute perfect blueprint for a World Cup finalist.
To really understand this Spanish side, you've got to start right here, with this unprecedented number, 6. 6 clean sheets in a single World Cup tournament. Let that sink in for a second. In the entire history of the FIFA World Cup, literally no team has ever achieved this. I mean, we so often think of Spanish football as this masterclass in attacking possession, right? But their 2026 campaign, it's been built on a foundation of absolute, sheer defensive invincibility.
Section 1. The historic defensive wall, building an unbreakable fortress.
So, the primary reason Spain has only conceded a single goal leading up to the final, which was just a lone strike by Belgium in the quarterfinals, by the way, is the specific blend of personnel making up this backline. You've got the youth and just elite composure of Pau Cubarsí, who's building out from the back with the maturity of a seasoned pro. And he's anchored by the veteran presence of Aymeric Laporte, right there in the middle. But then you move out wide, and wow, Pedro Porro has provided this relentless, match-altering energy on the right. He literally scored in the semifinal. While Marc Cucurella on the left has been an absolute revelation. He perfectly balances aggressive intensity with incredibly strict positional discipline. You see, they defend as a cohesive unit, but they attack as an immediate counterspring.
Section 2. Silencing the French attack. How tactics neutralized superstars.
Going into that semifinal, France was the overwhelming favorite. They were boasting a terrifying attacking trident of Kylian Mbappe, Ousmane Dembélé, and Michael Olise. Yet, Spain's dominance is brilliantly illustrated by this staggering drop in expected goals, or XG. Look at this. Before facing Spain, France was averaging an XG of 2.4 per game. They were creating high-quality chances just for fun. Against Spain, that plummeted to a microscopic 0.31. Guys, France didn't even manage a single shot on target until the final 15 minutes of the match. Spain completely suffocated them, making those global superstars look utterly lost out there.
So how exactly did they achieve this tactical masterpiece? Well, it wasn't by accident, that's for sure. It was a highly orchestrated 3-step plan. Step 1, they manipulated possession. Spain held just 51% of the ball, but they used it perfectly to pin France deep into their own half. This actually drew a frustrated mistake from Lucas Digne that led to a penalty won by Lamine Yamal. Then, step 2, total domination of the midfield duels. They essentially snuffed out transitions before they could even begin. And finally, step 3, strict tactical discipline on the wings. Spain's wide players minimized their risks, completely starving France of any opportunity to counterattack into open space.
The execution was just so flawless that as the players flooded back into the dressing room in Arlington, Marc Cucurella could literally be heard shouting over the Jamaican music, "What a freaking recital!" And honestly, he was right. It wasn't just a win, it was a masterful performance that left the opposition chasing shadows. It was a sentiment that was even echoed by King Felipe himself in a post-match phone call to the team.
Section 3. Spain 2010 versus 2026, the evolution of greatness.
To truly appreciate what we're watching in this 2026 squad, we really have to compare them to the legendary 2010 World Cup champions. Both are incredibly successful, sure, yet they represent two completely different philosophies of Spanish football. The iconic 2010 tiki-taka was defined by extreme patience, endless passing sequences with Xavi and Iniesta, minimal risk-taking, and regularly holding over 60% possession. They wore you down slowly. But in stark contrast, the 2026 model embraces verticality. While they still value the ball, obviously, it's all about explosive transitions, rapid acceleration, and utilizing the isolation dribbling of a 19-year-old superstar named Lamine Yamal to break lines instantly.
And verticality really is the defining trait of this team. Basically, it's a tactical approach emphasizing quick, forward passes and rapid transitions. The whole goal is to exploit open space before the opposing defense can set up. Instead of passing sideways 30 times to find a tiny gap, this version of Spain looks to strike like lightning the absolute second they win the ball.
Section 4. The tactical collective. The power of the team over individual stars.
But despite this newfound explosive speed and the massive spotlight on their wingers, the core philosophy driving this team is a totally disciplined commitment to the collective unit over any individual ego. This was perfectly encapsulated right before the players walked out to face France. Coach Luis de la Fuente gathered his squad and delivered this simple yet super powerful message. He said, "We're facing one of the best lineups in the world, but we're the best team in the world." It was just this awesome reminder that a unified, perfectly synchronized machine is always going to defeat a mere collection of superstars.
This collective mindset manifests perfectly in their individual performances, too. Rodri didn't just play well, he won more duels and completed more passes than any French player on the pitch. Fabien Ruiz? He remains undefeated in 49 caps for the national team. That is just a ridiculous statistic that highlights his stabilizing presence. Then you have Mikel Oyarzabal, who often drops in to play almost like a midfielder, yet he popped up to score a penalty, marking his 5th all-time World Cup goal. And Lamine Yamal. Despite the massive hype surrounding him, he sacrificed his own highlight reel against France to play with immense tactical discipline. He protected the ball and neutralized the French counter. Everyone, and I mean everyone, serves the system.
Section 5. The ultimate final showdown. Destiny awaits in New York.
So Spain's perfectly oiled vertical machine is now heading to New York to face the ultimate final boss, the defending world champions, Argentina. When we look at the tail of the tape for this final, the contrast is absolutely cinematic. On one side, you've got Spain, boasting a record-setting 6 clean sheets. On the other, Argentina, the battle-hardened defending champs. Spain relies on collective scoring from all over the pitch, from defenders like Pedro Porro all the way to forwards like Oyarzabal. Argentina, on the other hand, is spearheaded by Lionel Messi, who leads the tournament with a staggering 8 goals, bringing his career World Cup tally to 21. And perhaps most importantly, look at their paths here. Spain has cruised through the knockouts with dominant regulation wins, while Argentina has been forced deep into the trenches.
And that time in the trenches has taken a massive physical toll. Argentina's path to the final has been absolutely grueling. They survived a 3-2 extra-time thriller against Cape Verde in the round of 32, another 3-2 extra-time war against Egypt in the round of 16, and then a 3-1 extra-time victory over Switzerland in the quarterfinals. That is a massive amount of extra minutes and fatigue in their legs compared to a Spanish side that has methodically controlled their destiny within 90 minutes. So the question is, will Spain's fresh legs and vertical speed overwhelm and exhausted Argentina, or does Argentina have the championship grit to survive just one more time?
But beyond the tactics, the fatigue, and all the stats, this final gives us one of the most incredible, poetic storylines in the history of the sport. Check this out. Back in 2007, a 20-year-old Lionel Messi participated in a UNICEF charity photo shoot, and in his arms was a baby whose family had won a raffle. That baby was Lamine Yamal. Fast forward almost 2 decades, and that baby is now 19 years old. He's the talisman of a new Spanish generation, stepping onto the pitch in a World Cup final to face the very legend who held him. It is a true full-circle moment that scripts literally can't invent.
So what you should take away from this explainer is that we aren't just watching a football match here. We are watching a tactical masterpiece collide with destiny. Spain has built the greatest defensive wall in World Cup history and paired it with a lethal, modern vertical attack. But is it going to be enough? Will the legendary master Lionel Messi find a way through the unbreakable wall to retain his crown? Or will the 19-year-old student, Lamine Yamal, alongside this brilliantly unified Spanish collective, usher in a dominant new era? I absolutely cannot wait to find out. Thanks for joining me to explore the tactics behind the tournament, and I'll catch you guys next time.